Hello everyone, welcome to the Sorted Bag. I'm Devika and I'm a scientific editor by profession. The reason I'm here today is to talk about a recent trend that has gained a lot of popularity over the last couple of months, especially since the lockdown. And yes, I'm talking about a career option that is being offered on these social networks, content writing. Yes, content writing has become a recent, trend where people think that getting into the content writing as a freelancer or as a full-time worker will ensure that you get that or you start earning quickly or get that quick amount of money in a short time period. But is that really so is what is we are going to look into this video. We're also going to address issues about whether content writing is the perfect career choice for you or not. And why I'm talking about this is because I have been in this profession for nearly 10 years now. I started off way back in say 2010. Right after college, I took up content writing as a freelance, right? Mostly as a hobby. But then I loved it so much that I turned it into a career and joined an e-learning company as an author, and I moved on to become a senior author and editor. And right now, I'm a scientific editor. So I would like to address some of the misconceptions or concerns that surround this content writing profession. Firstly, many of us do believe that content writing is pretty simple, pretty easy, and can get you that quick amount of money. Well, it's not so. Content writing isn't that easy as it might appear to, because it requires a lot of time. A lot of time goes behind writing, a lot of time goes behind researching. So it's definitely not very easy to be done and quickly done kind of thing. We all know that yes, we know the language, we have the resources, we have a computers, we have the internet connection, but that doesn't mean that each and every one of us can become a content writer. There are certain requirements or certain aspects of yourself that you need to determine before you move on with this career option. So firstly, as I said, it is something that requires a lot of time, a lot of patience. You might need to research for days or research for several hours at a stretch to come up with a one particular article. So if you're one of those kinds who do not want to write much, or if you're one of those kinds, and I'm speaking entirely based on my experience, I have seen people who just want to write shorter emails because they don't want to get into too much writing or having to spell check or proofread, so they just want to keep it short, and those are the people who do not enjoy writing too much. But on the other hand, there are people, or if you might be one of those who might write like writing diaries, like these short memories, or you're one of those who way back in school you enjoyed your essays. So if you're one of those, so maybe content writing is in your blood and you might want to experiment with it. For people who wish to take it as a short-term career or only temporarily, maybe you can try your hand at it and experiment with different assignments. But I am primarily talking about those who wish to make up, with this content writing profession on a full-term basis. So if you're looking at it, in the terms of the future, then there are certain things that you need to keep in mind. Quite like other professions, content writing also requires you to love the job. Unless you love content writing, you wouldn't be able to master in this kind of profession. So say initially you might just write say 500 or 1000 word articles, but eventually when a company takes you on board, you would be expected on an average to write say 4000 to 5000 word articles. So at that point of time, if you do not enjoy writing, you wouldn't be able to give in. You might just back out after a week or so and you just give up that no, content writing is not right for me. So the first and foremost thing is to love writing. And how do you know that you love writing? I have a simple solution. Here is your sample or portfolio. So portfolio is something that if you have been an experienced writer and you have written for other websites, then a collection of those articles can serve as your portfolio. But if you're somebody who are in this profession for the first time, you don't have a relevant experience and you don't have anything to show as your article, that's where sample comes into picture. So if you're applying for a content writing job, then you're sure to be asked to send in a sample along with your CV. So alongside your CV, your sample holds a lot of value. Your sample is something that's going to allow the HR or whoever is hiring you to judge your abilities as a content writer. So having a masterpiece as a sample is highly essential. So you need to ensure that you create a sample that speaks volumes about your ability to write. So going ahead with the sample creation will ensure two main purposes here. So firstly, having a sample will ensure that you have something to showcase, something to provide to your client or customer, or company, whoever you're collaborating with. So your sample will be ready, so whenever you need to apply for a job, you can just send it across. Second thing is, when you're in the process of writing the sample, it will help you determine if you're enjoying the process. So if you enjoy the process of sample creation, then you're sure to enjoy content writing in the coming days as well. So how to go about with the creation of this sample? So first factor here is determining your category. So you might be a technical graduate, but your interest might lie in something else, say lifestyle or relationships or cooking, gardening. You might want to write about those. So when we're talking about content writing, we have different sectors there. We have technical writing, we have blogging, we have related to websites, product reviews, academic writing, and various kinds. So determining the sector that you want to move forward is very important. Identify your strengths. So if you have a technical degree and you want to move on with that kind of technical writers, that kind of a profession, so do that. Create a sample surrounding that. On the other hand, if you want to showcase your skills, or you want to write based on your lifestyle experiences, or you want to become a fashion blogger or whatever it might be, so with create a sample surrounding that as a concept, or creating context around that. In some cases, you might want to be both. You might want to write as a technical person, might want to write light-hearted articles as well. So in this case, remember to have customized samples. So if you're applying for a technical writer's position and you end up sending in your lifestyle article to that HR, there's no coordination. The person who's hiring for the technical writer wouldn't be able to judge or assess your skills based on the article that you've written on lifestyle. So if you're trying to focus on categories that range various sectors, write samples accordingly. So if you're opting for two kind of writing jobs, then write two different samples. That way you can showcase your respective abilities. So after you have decided the category, the next step is research. So when writing a sample, I will always suggest that choose smaller topics or narrow down your topics. So don't write on something which is very general. Write something specific that you can make it into a crisp and concise article. The standard size for a sample, although few companies might ask for more, I would say a 400 to 500 word articles should be appropriate. So for a 400 to 500 word article, you will need a topic that is small, something that is, concise in nature, and you could write very well. So when you have a category in mind, go research, read up other people's work, see what other authors have written, but then don't just start writing. First step is only research, read as much as you can. You spend hours reading, just try to understand what those authors might have been thinking when creating those articles. So just try to understand, comprehend, info, let it all sink in. So the research process is only allowing you to kind of comprehend that particular category is to be based on this particular aspects. So after that, the next step is to narrow down. Choose one particular segment of that category as the topic of your article. So that segment can be, so that you can put it in proper, accurate, structure it, and, create a crisp kind of a small sample article. So after you narrow down, then comes the process of, merging in your ideas. So the article or the sample that you create needs to be unique. So when you're into content writing, the two aspects that you should follow, it's a hardcore rule, is like no plagiarism. Yes, we all of us know that. But there's another thing called paraphrasing. That is also a big no. So paraphrasing is something like you take up somebody else's work, you jumble it up and they paraphrase few sentences and you produce an article. So that's not a correct way of having an article. So an article that is already there virtually, it would have had several millions of views. Then why would anybody come and read your article? So unless you give it some unique texture to it, put in your ideas, your views, and make it unique so that it speaks about you. It can be identified that it's written by you. So when you have read several articles and you have it in your mind, put in your ideas, whatever you have been exposed to, your experiences, blend it. let it all just merge and then create a article that speaks about you. Put it in your words, structure it how you would want it to be. Like for instance, if you're talking about product reviews, let it not just focus on specifications or what other reviewers have written. Put it in your views as well. Add your perspective to that product as well. That is what it's going to make it unique. So when you have that sample written finally, but ensure that when you have the 400 to 500 words, ensure that it is structured. Begin with the introduction, move on to the body, and then the conclusion. And also ensure that it is not a hanging article or a hanging sentence. By that I mean, if you start with a question, end with the solution to it, so that there's a link. Okay, so and the ideal samples are the one that begin with these questions kind, say how something is being done. So if you are asking a question in the introduction, let the conclusion summarize it and answer it. So don't let it be hanging. It has to be linked. There has to be a logical flow, and the idea should be well presented. So that is going to be the masterpiece sample that you create. So once your sample is ready, you have two things to do. You are sure of having a sample that you can showcase to whoever the client or the customer or your company you're applying to is. And the second thing that it'll ensure is, if you have enjoyed the sample writing process, you're enjoying writing, and it'll ensure that you go a long way in your content writing profession. So today's video was a wrap on why you should become a content writer, who should become a content writer, and the aspects you should consider, what a sample is or how it should look. So all these were discussed in today's video. I hope it found it informative, and please do leave in the comment section any particular queries that you might have, or if you want me to do videos on similar lines, say tips for writers, or how do you structure an article in the perfect manner. If you want to look into these aspects, then please leave it in the comment section, and I shall come back with videos on that as well. And I shall see you in our next video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Please hit on the subscribe button, and you might see a bell icon right next to the subscribe button. Click on that, turn it on as well, so that you receive notifications whenever we are up with our next videos. So I shall see you in our next video. Till then, take care. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.